Hello, Army of Light, Earth Division. It's Shauna L. Francis, and today is February 24th, 2023. We are channeling the late Queen Elizabeth, and she's been taking her time to get to this next video. Thanks, everybody, for your patience. It's been 3 days since the Queen came through. Last time we talked quite a bit about Harry and about the intervention on behalf of Diana, his late mother, to make sure that he didn't have to endure the Master's Eye initiation of the negative reptilian hive mind leadership. You're like, what? What was that? If you're new to my channel, welcome, guys. Welcome. We're channeling the late Queen Elizabeth. As I said, we are talking about the negative reptilian control, influence over this planet, over humanity for centuries upon centuries. I'm just going to say right now, team, today's channeling is another one of those really gruesome, detailed, horrific type channelings. If you're not feeling in a good heart space today, if you're not feeling grounded, if you're already feeling a little emotional or off balance, you may want to watch this one later. I'll warn you right before we get into the nitty-gritty of it, but this is really, really hard. I can understand why she wanted to take a few days to put her thoughts together and to be able to talk about this. I cried. There was a lot of really amazing energy work in the middle of this again. It's so much more than channeling that seems to be happening. There's so much going on here. I don't really understand it myself. I'm feeling new things and I'm sensing new things. I don't really know how. I don't know what it is or really how to articulate what that is, but I'll do my best. All right, so thanks again, guys, for being here. Thanks for all your love, your support, all your questions, your beautiful comments on YouTube. Also, team, with channelings like this, we are at risk here for being censored. As of yesterday, my website, www.shaunalfrancis.com, is now housing all of my videos, and I have the ability to upload videos and stream them directly from my website should YouTube take me down, okay? I hope it doesn't happen, and I will be on YouTube until they stop me from being on here. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But if it does, I'm directing everybody to my personal website, shaunalfrancis.com, where you'll find my channelings. And I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to continue to bring these messages forward from Queen Elizabeth. I really don't know what we're going to be up against here. I know the warnings have been pretty intense from Melchizedek and Cryon and the Galactic Federation of Light in terms of the backlash that will be coming. And today's channeling is one of those types of things that, it's just really awful. And there's just going to be a lot of people who aren't going to understand it. It's going to be really offensive. But, this is the truth that she knows. This is her truth. And I am pairing up with her as her partner to bring this truth out to the world, out to all of you guys. We have the Army of Light Earth Division here helping to bring this information anchored in love and light to the planet. You guys are playing a really critical role. Today I've got my rose quartz, love and compassion. Yeah, this was so hard today. All right, team, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Melchizedek came in right away. I've got about 2,000 words that were exchanged between myself, Queen Elizabeth, and Melchizedek. They said, "Hi, Shauna, this is Melchizedek." I'm like, hello, how are you? They said, wonderful, how are you? I said, I'm doing great. I said, what's going on? Because it's been 3 days since the Queen came through. And they said, Shauna, Queen Elizabeth is ready. She'll be with you momentarily. We ask for your continued patience and open heart as she works through her language and information and even her emotions to bring through today's message and future messages. I said, thank you, Melchizedek. I said, I feel terrible about being so impatient and about the previous few channelings that were taking over 4 hours. I said, I'm realizing that I did not help the situation at all. I said, I'm delighted to be working with Queen Elizabeth, and I'm so very sorry for putting that extra pressure on her to speak. I said, this has got to be very challenging for her. And they said, thank you, Shauna. No apologies necessary. Everybody is doing their part to move this information along and to bring this truth to light. And it is a process, and it's also a team effort. So we are now at a point where the information should flow a bit more seamlessly. I said, wonderful, thank you, Melchizedek. They said, thank you, Shauna, please hold for the Queen. I said, okay. And then I hear, hello, Shauna, it's Queen Elizabeth. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's back. I said, hello. I said, I'm so glad that you're back. I said, I hope that you had an opportunity to rest the last few days, and I just want to apologize. I said, I know that Melchizedek just said no apology necessary, but I feel bad that I put you under pressure and that I was, encouraging you to speak maybe when you were not ready to speak. And I hope I didn't make you feel more nervous or more pressure than what was needed. And I said, everything that you've said so far has been amazing and very well received, and I respect you so much. And she said, thank you for that, Shauna. As Melchizedek said, no apologies necessary. We are doing great. We make a wonderful team, and I have renewed excitement for our mission together and to continue to share this eye-opening and horrific, and I repeated like, ooh, horrific? And she said, yes, Shauna, horrific information with you and the world at large. I said, okay, Elizabeth, I'm ready whenever you are. Again, she said, thank you, Shauna. The Mountbatten bloodline, we will circle back to this again today. Wreaking havoc as described before, enacting some terrifying and ruthless behavior at the direction and control of the negative reptilian hive mind leadership, of course. And she said, I'd like to talk a bit more about the children. Shauna, are you okay with this? And I said, yes, I am. Please continue, Elizabeth. She said here, more context is needed to help round out the general understanding of how the blood energy is generated and also how it's consumed, and a bit more about why this happens. She said, Shauna, this is paramount to understanding the larger reptilian conspiracy against humanity, the exploitation of children. It's the irretractable vice grip on the humans who are, in essence, forced to partake in these blood practices. And she says here, and I single out the Mountbatten bloodline in particular because, firstly, I have direct knowledge of these activities and their antics, and quite frankly, Shauna, there have been what I would consider to be, where I sit right now in this moment, extreme personal affronts. Oh, you guys, I just started bawling. I felt her. I felt this energy come through. Extreme personal affronts. I will say she did not get into the personal stuff today, and I asked her kind of just mentally about that toward the end, but I think, this is an extremely gruesome and grueling channeling, and I didn't want to push it, but anyway, the Prince Philip was a Mountbatten, and she talked about catching him sexually abusing their daughter Anne. So she'll get some personal affronts here. And she said, and I am still in this moment grappling with what I know and grappling with how to bring this information to light from a practical and factual standpoint, but also to give you all a taste of the personal anguish that I feel. Yeah, team, imagine her being reptilian for however many lifetimes, not really thinking for herself much or articulating her own thoughts, then to be on the other side of the veil and having this huge open heart outside of this body and having to recount this from this new vantage point and explain all this to us. I mean, it's got to be so hard. She said, it's crushing, Shauna. I would not wish it on anyone. I say, okay. I said, you're doing great. I feel you. Let me grab a tissue. I'll be right back. So I said, okay, I'm ready. Please take your time whenever you're ready. She said, thank you, Shauna. The Mountbattens, and of course, while I single out this particular bloodline, note that there is an intertwining of all the royal bloodlines at some level. So in general, it is this family on which we are focused today, the Mountbattens, of which Prince Philip was a part. The Mountbattens, of which Prince Philip was a part, feared nothing. Their humanistic personality traits were such that they melded quite seamlessly with the negative reptilian hive mind agenda. The Mountbattens, for all intents and purposes, were a strong and complementary genetic match to the mindset and directives coming through the leadership via the hive mind control. She says here, Shauna, when one looks into the master's eye, there really is no return. And when that power and that all-encompassing control melds with a person who already has a very low moral fortitude, a lack of integrity, feelings of superiority, and other quote-unquote narcissistic type qualities, you have a recipe for disaster. Not mincing words here. She's just saying it how she's feeling. All right, this is around the time where I really start to feel my energy shift once again, feeling that anxiety in my heart space, in my chest. And I just decided to be present with it. I know that it's not mine, and I'm not taking it personal, but I'm feeling it. I'm being present for this feeling and just allowing it. And I felt my consciousness go deeper and deeper. And then I'd say after about 6 or 7 minutes, I start to feel my energy, kind of this uneasiness in my chest, kind of move up into my head and up into kind of my whole crown area and out of my chest. And it was feeling much more peaceful and beautiful. And at one point I noted here that this was feeling very angelic, actually. I'm like, wow, what a difference. That moved right out up into my crown chakra, and it feels angelic in nature. And it was starting to feel really beautiful. And at one point I found myself like in the prayer position, like just with my hands together. And I was like, glory be to God. And I don't ever say stuff like that, but I was feeling this, like this was very intense. It was a whole different part to this channeling. Then I felt like a ton of energy flowing through the palms of my hands. So I just had them open, and I was just imagining sharing this energy out into our plane of existence here, like encompassing the planet with this energy. I'm just amplifying that light, and then I felt it anchoring through my feet. And then eventually I started to see pinks. Pinks, blush color, light rose, like a dusty rose type color. Very feminine, I had said here, very like a divine feminine. And then all of a sudden, in my mind's eye, I see Princess Diana. And I've come to know that Diana's favorite color is pink. So she came in and she's like, Shauna, I'm just going to be quiet, but I'm here in the background supporting you and the Queen. I just wanted to let you know that I'm here. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, Diana, no wonder I felt the power of the angels and this new frequency. It was very, very different frequency, but it was Princess Diana here just checking in. And that vibration stuck with me for at least 15 minutes. It was a brand new vibration that I hadn't felt before. And I was just saying, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And once again, all the hair stood up on my head. Oh, so that was really quite amazing. But come to find out here, really, the angels, Diana, everybody's helping, I think, ground not only me, but Elizabeth also into what's coming next. So team, this is where it gets extremely graphic. We're talking about the child, the rituals here, the pedophilia, the bloodletting. And she goes into quite a bit of detail here. You know, we've talked about this before. Why do we need this level of detail? It is important. This has all been murky and kind of whispers and all this stuff, but we're coming out with the truth here. And I feel very empowered to be able to speak this truth. I'm trusting in the source, where it's coming from. And I feel it's extremely important. Even though this is horrific, somebody's got to be talking about this. We can't be hush-hush about this anymore. All right, so again, team, good time to turn this off if you're not feeling it. Check in with yourself. Check in with your heart space. All right, team. She said, the Mountbattens and the children, pure evil. Imagine Shauna, a child, 10 or 11, maybe 12, being led down a dark corridor. Silence. Oh, and at this point I'd made a note. The energy was coming through so strong, and I was like, my hands were so stiff, just like this. And I don't, I've not had any formal training. I believe Buddha. I mean, this is a very common hand, position when you're meditating. But I'm like this with these on my thighs. I am pressing my finger together on my thumb, and I'm just like allowing this energy to circle around and out my hands or something. It felt super grounding to be able to hold this position, FYI. Silence, she said. They're brought to a room out of sight and out of earshot. All their clothes are removed. They like to start these rituals with a bit of screaming. Hot branding irons were often used, or the children's hands would be placed on a hot fire with glowing coals. Now the child is in extreme pain and utterly terrified. By the time that sentence came through, I'm noticing that the energy had dissipated and spread out, and it was feeling a lot less intense. So maybe it was just gearing up to get us started, but then it calmed. And then she continued here. Shauna, then this poor child would be subjected to countless physical defilements, sexual in nature, sometimes just abusive. This being is now seen as a play toy, not human at all. She said here, there may be 3 or 4 or 5 people in this room with this child, all taking turns, sometimes not waiting for their turn. So ugly, she said. The child is choked and slapped and raped, tossed around, punched and kicked. The energy in that room, thick and putrid, she said. The negative reptilian hive mind control is thorough and complete. And the energy coming from this child is so intoxicating to these people and the collective they are serving that none of them are ever in their right mind or even close to having any connection to who they are as human. In these moments, she said, they are no longer human. They are reptilian avatars for those who control them. Many times after the battering is done, scalding hot water is poured over the victim to cleanse them and to terrify them even more. Once the body is quote unquote clean, they are laid down on their backs on a special platform, a special table. Often they are strapped down, held in place by metal cuffs or rope, leather straps. Oftentimes the child is whipped by all who are participating. Whack, whack, she said. She said, that was a big pop. Did you hear that? Sorry. She said, many children lose consciousness at that point, the pain and trauma being so great. They don't want that to happen. They want to keep the child awake and in fear. But eventually, there comes a point when the child is fading, if they haven't passed out already. At that point, they switch gears. It's time to drain the blood. I'm sorry, team. I was really feeling ill at this point. My stomach was just in these knots. And I'm seeing a lot of it too as it's coming. I'm seeing it clearly in my mind's eye how this works and what's going down. We're not done yet, guys. Again, if this isn't sitting well with you, and of course it's not sitting well with you, but feel free to turn this off and either skip the whole thing or come back later. The bloodletting. The jugular is cut with a sharp blade and the blood is captured, often in golden cups or chalices. The fountain of youth, she said. The fountain of youth, of course, is this what that has always referred to? The adrenochrome, the ADR in the blood that's being consumed, that's keeping these folks young and vibrant? I don't know. I really don't know. But she said the fountain of youth. I just said, oh my goodness. She said, it's a solemn part of the ritual. When the cup is nearly full, it's passed around and drank until it's gone. This is extremely euphoric to those who are participating. Their eyes roll back in their head and they enter a trance state. Sometimes ancient words are spoken. Not any language that is known on earth to have been spoken by humans, but sounds and utterances from a species once removed from this planet. She says here, mercilessly the child passes, as in passes away. An X is cut into the abdomen of the victim. A portion of the liver is located and removed and placed into a golden bowl. It's immediately passed around and everyone takes a bite, chews, and swallows it. This is done in silence, she said. They cut out a piece of the pancreas. It's placed in a golden bowl and it is also passed around and eaten. Oftentimes they cut between two ribs. They pry those two ribs apart, breaking bones to get to the heart, tearing through lung tissue. A portion of that still warm heart is cut away and cut into pieces and swallowed whole. She said it's bloody, it's gruesome, it's unconscionable. She said sometimes other body parts are removed and eaten as well. And then the cleanup begins. Blood is washed down the drains and the floor. Many times the body is placed in a wooden casket that's been sealed with wax so it doesn't leak. And through secret corridors, the body is transported out of that room to be incinerated, much like cremations that happen today. There was a long pause here and I just felt so drained. I was feeling so tired. I noted that here. It took us quite a while to get through that. She's switched gears here a little bit. Shauna, while these practices were not limited to the Mountbattens, they reveled in these acts and did them quite often hundreds and hundreds of years of this, and unfortunately, it still happens today. She said, there will be proof of all these atrocities, proof of these atrocities. It will come to light, and it will be shocking. She said here, the world is ready for these truths. The time for this to end is now. She said, Shauna, with many questions still to be answered, this feels complete for me today. I said, okay, thank you, Elizabeth. All right, guys, so proof of these atrocities. Underground corridors, underground tunnels, there's all kinds of stuff going on, even under Buckingham Palace, from what I understand, under different parts of these old cities, you know, the old castles that are still around. Underground corridors. She didn't say underground, but, you know, having the experience that I had, that I talked to you guys about, where I was taken down this cavern into this cave-like structure, this could be under a city somewhere. This could be somewhere on Earth physically. So proof, you know, it may not be that any of this is linked to the negative reptilian hive mind overlords, but the proof of the pedophilia, these blood rituals, the satanic type rituals that are happening, the killing of the children, there's got to be proof here. And she's saying there is proof, and it will come out, and it will be, you know, this will hopefully be stopping. She said, this will stop. This has to end now. So here we are, team, to this point. I can't wait for that to happen. I can't wait for proof to come out and for these atrocities to stop finally. I don't know what that looks like, but it seems to me it's a 3D situation. Proof will come to light, and there will be charges, and hopefully the angels will be working with whomever discovers all this, and it won't be covered up or whitewashed or swept under the rug or removed from our consciousness somehow, you know, that this actually really does finally come to the surface. And there's some real prosecutions that happen. Again, it may not ever be attributed to anything reptilian, but in any matter, it needs to come to the surface that this is happening at our upper echelons of society, our royals, our leadership. All right, well, I mean, obviously I'm preaching to the choir here. All right, team, thanks for everything. I love you guys so much. I will check in with the Queen again tomorrow. I do expect that she will be ready to go, and we'll just continue on. Oh, before I go, a couple of you have asked if I got taken off of YouTube. If you are not subscribed, you're probably not getting my posts. So when I don't make a video, I put out a quick post saying that for tonight, I'm not going to be making a video for whatever reason. So you may be missing those things. So make sure you subscribe and that you hit the notifications button. Also, you can find my entire channel is on YouTube at Shauna L. Francis. So if you do a search for that, I'll come up and all my stuff. But under the community tab is where I'm posting little updates that are not videos, where I say whether or not I have a video going up. So hopefully that makes some sense. And again, team, if all of a sudden I'm off of YouTube, head to www.shaunalfrancis.com, where I will be continuing this mission. All right, team, I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. Mwah.